All business owners are leaders in some way. And the decision to do the free classes and to work with our clients and work with our students and people who have been with us for this journey, we always decided to act with compassion first.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to COVID-19 Heroes. My name is Lorraine Schneider, and today I am joined by not one, but two great guests, Sarah Rowe and J. Chris Moore. Sarah and J. Chris are the owners of Mob HQ Dance Studio. They opened the studio just a little over a year ago in San Fernando, California. The studio's first anniversary was supposed to be festive. Now, this milestone has been overshadowed by the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Sarah and J. Chris both describe what it's been like navigating the COVID-19 pandemic as small business owners, but they also share the incredible ways they have been able to bring dance and choreography into people's living rooms all over the world. Hi, Sarah and J. Chris. Thank you both for being on today's show of COVID-19 Heroes. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
What is your guys' background, and what led you to create Mob HQ Dance Studio?
I've been dancing for roughly 20 years now. I started a little bit right after I graduated high school, and I was focusing on the dance community and the competition scene, basically just the collegiate dance scene. And once I graduated college, I started to pursue dance more as a full-time profession, and I eventually moved to North Hollywood. Before moving to North Hollywood, I had established a dance company called The Mob. And so when I moved here, I changed kind of the focus of the company and wanted to cater to more professional dancers who are pursuing like professional work in the industry, but they still wanted that family-oriented type of team vibe. So that's kind of what I wanted to create as a hub for that. And over the years, the team progressed and the company progressed, and we were renting rehearsal space from different studios. And in January of 2019, the studio that we were rehearsing at, the owners let us know that the studio was actually going to be demolished at the end of the month. So after years of just cycling through different studios and just paying rental fees at different places, me and Sarah came to the understanding that if we're going to pay a ridiculously high rate for rent in North Hollywood or in the Valley area, we might as well have our own location rather than just jumping from studio to studio. And being that we have a junior team, a youth group, and an adult group, we just needed so many hours of rehearsal space throughout the week that it only made sense to open up a location of our own. And after some searching, luckily we landed on a place that was just perfect for our dancers, our community, and everything that we were looking for to offer within a creative space.
You're small business owners, and particularly with a business that is so young, it must be quite a scary time right now. Have you guys been able to take advantage of the CARES Act or any state release funds?
It definitely has been a hard time for us. I mean, I know for any business, this is something that you would never anticipate and probably would never have to deal with in the lifetime of a business. But especially for us being, just hitting our first year mark, it's definitely scary. And we've been looking into pretty much every option that has been offered. The thing that's tricky about a lot of the different grants and programs that are available are the guidelines are so specific, and I've been noticing that we're kind of falling between the cracks a little bit. So, for example, we don't have any employees on payroll, so it's hard to qualify for a lot of grants or loans that specifically are aimed towards like making sure people are still making money, making sure that companies can still pay their employees. And then even just in smaller ways where, I'm a woman and Jay is Black, but we don't qualify for Black-owned business or women-owned business because we're 50-50 owners rather than having one majority owner. So it's been a little bit frustrating and hard for us to get help for what we need because our rent is our biggest expense. And, we're still in our first year, as I said, and every month we're working towards kind of making that gap a little bit smaller from where we're coming out of pocket. But we depend very heavily on being able to operate in order to reach that every month, which having to close down as of March 17th, we're kind of close now and a little bit worried about what's to come, but we've applied for everything we possibly can.
Yeah, just earlier today, the House passed another bill to help with COVID relief, I saw, and it includes more than $300 billion to expand small business support. But I also know that with all these loans that are being provided, clearly it's a good thing for the people who qualify for them, which is, like you just said, not always everyone. And in addition to that, there is still interest rates going with some of them. And even if they're small interest rates, like with a Small Business Administration, it can be tough no matter what. So purely theoretically, if tomorrow we all got the green light to open back up again and you could host classes again, you can rent the space out and have video shoots take place and all of that, how long would it take you to get back to the financial level that you had before COVID?
It set us back quite a bit. It was hard because, as Sarah just mentioned, we were approaching our 1-year mark. And in the months of April and May, we're going to be very, very impacted as far as events and as far as like just our 1-year anniversary celebration itself. It was going to generate a lot of revenue for us, as well as some rentals with spring break hitting. A lot of companies were looking for things for their dancers to do. So we had like a week-long intensive and just like opportunities like that we were given. You know, like I said, approaching our year mark, it kind of gave us a sense of comfort as far as like Sarah said, closing that gap. So we're not always coming out of pocket. So I would say like maybe like 3 to 4 months it would probably take just for us to get back to being on track to not having to come out of pocket. And with the loans that are being offered, it's great, and we appreciate, you know, what the government is trying to do for the small businesses. But in the sense of a loan, it's almost like a little bit more detrimental to us, because if we accept some of these loans, now we're even in more debt when we're still barely trying to break even month to month with our expenses as it is. So it would just be adding another expense on top of that. So it's almost like a double-edged sword for us. So, you know, the fact that we haven't been able to qualify for some of these grants, I guess it's kind of okay, because in the long run, it might actually put us in the red a little bit more. It might be like temporary help and temporary relief right now, but we're just not quite sure what it would do for us in the long run.
So hopefully the lockdown is going to be lifted over the next few weeks, but we're really going to have to adapt to the way we live. And even with the complete lockdown being lifted, eventually, you know, there's going to be waves and it's going to be hard. When will you hit the tipping point where you may have to decide to shut down your business because it will not be possible to recover from it? Have you made those calculations and that plan?
Since we've opened, pretty much every month we have to do a reset. So we're kind of used to that, starting at zero at the end of the month after we pay all of our bills, and then building back up in order to pay the bill next month. And that's kind of how we've been operating for the last year. That being said, we were able to function at that time. So fortunately, last month, our landlord allowed us to defer our payment until January of 2021. Which was very helpful because it gave us an extra month to try to save up money to pay rent for this month, which we're hoping to continue to pay our rent until we can't anymore, which, you know, after we pay this month, we're going to reset to zero, which we're used to. We're going to do our best to try to build it back up without, you know, being able to actually be in the studio and figure out ways to make that happen. But we don't have capital to fall back on, and I think that's something that, you know, as a new business is normal. We're still in that new phase where we used everything that we got, and now we're just hoping that something else pulls through for us. We have a really big support system behind us, and things always seem to work out at the last minute. But yeah, it's really on like a day-to-day basis almost right now for us to try to figure out how we're going to make it through the next few months.
Yeah, those are very harsh conditions for you guys, but it's been really great to see how, even though it's hard on you, you've been able to continue providing services to your dancers and to your choreographers and everybody else. What are some ways that you've been able to continue serving them?
We've been offering free Instagram Live masterclasses throughout the week. We have them for beginners, from kids all the way to advanced. And we have a couple different styles, and we just provide them for free just so people throughout the day can have a little bit of release, you know, just from the stresses of what's going on. And we just want to take people's minds away just for an hour. And if it's through the medium of dance and anything that we can do to alleviate a little bit of stress, that's what we're doing. We're also doing Q&A panels through Instagram Live where we're just reaching out to different artists, entrepreneurs, business owners, and letting people do like a Q&A session with them, because a lot of the people that we've been interviewing, they're known for their physical work, or they're known for their art it's seen or put on like a grander scale. But a lot of people don't know about the insight and the knowledge that these people actually have, which is actually beneficial to people who aren't in the industry yet or who might be pursuing a role in the entertainment industry. And we've also just been trying to stay as connected as possible with people. Apps like Zoom and Google Classroom and things like that, and Hangouts and whatnot. We've been able to keep in contact with our dancers and our companies, and we've been able to assign homework assignments for our younger dancers as well as the adult dancers to just learn routines on their own and record themselves, send them to us so we can give them critiques, just so everybody's still moving, so we don't just, just to keep the rust off the bones and whatnot, and also just to keep people's minds focused on what they really love to do, which is dancing. And I know it's at times like this, it's really hard to be motivated. So we just do our best to try to like constantly have a rapport with our dancers and just the community members as well, so we can get everybody dancing.
Yeah, I think we're in a leadership position as business owners. Like, all business owners are leaders in some way. And the decision to do the free classes and to work with our clients and work with our students and people who have been with us for this journey, we always decided to act with compassion first. And of course, we're worried about our studio, and we've put everything into building it. And, just to see where it's come from the last year, we obviously don't want to lose that. But at the same time, the connections that we have with people and our supporters and the dancers that come through our studio every day, we know they're going through things too. So to be able to provide some type of consistency and meet them with compassion and kindness and understanding, that was definitely the most important thing for us to do through this time, and we know that in some way that'll come back to us.
J. Chris, you're an artist doing choreography and dance. What are you hearing from other professional artists in your community?
Oh man, people are they don't know what's going on. The industry that I'm in is canceled until 2021. There's not going to be any work. There's no festivals. There's no concerts. There's no tours. So a lot of the people in the dance industry just really are, with their hands in the air, hoping to get an unemployment check. And for me, I'm not so much stressed out, because I think since I've had a longer tenure in this industry, I've been able to kind of see that you can't dance forever. So it's very, very important to have other skills and other tools in your tool belt. So if some reason you can't dance, you have other means of making income, or you have just other creative outlets. And so what I am seeing is that there's some dancers and some artists that really do have something on the side and other talents, but there is a good, I want to say 92% of the industry that has absolutely no idea what they're going to do. A lot of people are just kind of not sitting on their hands and waiting for something to happen, but they invested their whole life into this craft. And, we close a lot of doors to other things because we want to put so much of our focus towards dancing and towards creating that we didn't think something like this would happen. So a lot of people are just in this cloud of uncertainty and just hoping that some answers are going to come around. There's a couple choreographers who are trying to raise money and raise awareness for, independent contractors, specifically dancers and working dancers, trying to raise money for them. But to be realistic, it's going to take an unforeseen amount of money to be able to get every working dancer in the industry stable and afloat so they can maintain their means and whatnot. So I really don't know what's going to happen next. All we can do is just focus on what we know is consistent, and that's that we want to keep meeting people with compassion and looking out for the community as much as we can. We're not trying to pat anybody's pockets and charge any crazy rate. Everybody's dancing in their living rooms or their bedrooms. Some people are dancing in their kitchen. So to charge people a crazy amount of money for them to be dancing at home and learning from us while we're in our living rooms, we just can't really bring ourselves to do that. And we'd rather just offer it for free and hope that when this wave does pass, that we can figure out something. There's a lot of creatives in this industry, and I'm sure it's only a matter of time before we figure something out as a collective.
Amidst this very difficult time, what has been one positive outcome for you?
I think the biggest thing for us was being able to connect with people outside of our immediate surrounding. So on the day-to-day, we're very focused on our immediate area and our dance community and our dance industry, because being a physical business, those are our clients. Those are the people that are coming in our doors. Those are the people who are helping support our business. But through the free classes, we've had people joining in from India and Colombia and Canada and all over the world that join in our class and, send us messages and tell us, it's 5 a.m. where I live, but I'm dancing with you and I love it. And I'm so happy that you guys are doing this. And that's just really expanded our minds and realizing that we can reach people all over the world and we don't have to think so closed-minded in the sense of our community. Our community is all over the world.
Do you think you're going to use this knowledge now in the future to maybe continue providing some sort of web-based classes even once everything's over?
Once we get things back up and running, we're going to try to still do a weekly, like 1 day a week, a free Instagram class, just to keep that sense of consistency. I mean, of course, we're going to go back to our regular teaching schedule, but we know it's going to be a while before, people are wanting to congregate with larger numbers. So our classes aren't going to be super packed out in the beginning. We understand that. So we do want to continue having the rapport with the people who are taking class with us online. And it's, for some people, it's fun because it's the one time where you can really connect with these people. Like Sarah said, like we have dancers from India, Egypt, Argentina, Colombia, Russia, and they're just chiming in with us at all hours of the day. Sometimes it'll be the next day when they'll take the class because it's posted for 24 hours, and we'll get a random donation. Like the class will be on Tuesday, and then Friday morning we'll hit, and we'll get a random donation of like $10, $15 and say, I had so much fun in your class on Tuesday. When that kind of stuff happens, we're like, okay, cool. Like we're doing what we said we were going to do. We're looking out for the community. If money comes in, then it comes in. And as long as we don't do it for the money, then anything that we get, we're appreciative of. And we know at least that we still are making a genuine connection with people.
That's really wonderful. What message would you like to send to dancers, choreographers, and artists out there who may be listening?
I think just don't forget why we love this. At one point, there was no studio for us. At one point, there was no gigs. There was no jobs. There was no agents. There was just us in our bedrooms or our living rooms, watching our favorite music videos, watching listening to our favorite music, watching stage performances, whether it be on any scale. Something triggered a passion and a love for dance and creating. And as long as we can go back to that and remember what that was before we had all these extra assets, and remember how much drive we had with that passion, I think we can recover from this. Like I said before, there's so many creative people that we will figure out a way to work around these obstacles that we've been given, as long as we don't just give up, because it's really easy to give up. It's almost more welcoming to just pack up your stuff and go back home. If you're not from LA, go back home, be with your family. That seems very, very welcoming and very, very convenient to do right now, and almost the easy way. But if we just stick it out, tough it out, and just kind of like face the storm head on together, and we are all aware that we're all in the same boat and nobody is doing any worse than anybody else, I think that's how we can, really, really overcome this. We just have to come at it with a unified front and remember the passion that we had when we started doing this.
Sarah and J. Chris, thank you both so much for being guests on today's show. I know it's so hard for you guys as small business owners, but it's really wonderful to see how you're still continuing to provide services to your clients and even to others worldwide. So thank you for that, and best of luck to you all in the future.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
I'd like to close off this episode by thanking J. Chris and Sarah for continuing to bring joy and movement for free to dancers around the world during these difficult times. It's important that we continue doing what we love and staying connected with others. Join them on Instagram for a class or a live Q&A session with talented artists and performers by visiting the Mob HQ on Instagram. If you like the show, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you, and until next time, I'm your host, Lorraine Schneider.